Welcome to the Sugar Freedom Method training. I'm your host today, Jen Eden, and I'm also the founder of the Sugar Freedom Method. Now, I know your time is limited, so I'm going to share as much information as possible. So by the end of this training, you will walk away with a handful of new ideas to implement to help curb your sugar addiction. I'll also try to talk super fast because trainings that go on and on lose my attention too. Okay, so you're going to hear me talk a lot about inflammation as it relates to sugar consumption, because the truth is that sugar inflames the body and inflammation is the reason the weight won't budge. And if it does budge, it comes right back on the minute you stop following a diet. Now, what I'm about to share is the simplest and most effective way I've seen 40 through 60-year-old busy female professionals take back control of what they eat and drink without following a strict diet, meal prepping on Sundays, or relying on a million supplements, which, as you know, never work anyway. Now, my promise is by the end of this training, you will understand in detail the 5-step method I've created that has helped hundreds of women get to the root cause of those nasty cravings, as well as understand what's really going on in the body when you can't lose weight no matter what you do. And while I realize we're not working together yet, how fun for those who decide to join me and my team. You get a hard copy of the Sugar Freedom Method online portal in one handy place. You see, I'm a product of the 80s, so naturally I'm a huge fan of pen and paper versus just straight up digital learning. Okay, so I want you to check out Gail. She's 63 years old and a kitchen designer. She released 50 pounds of weight in 60 days without dieting, simply because her body stopped craving sugar. And she stopped eating and drinking things that were inflaming her body. Her endocrinologist of 25 years called me to ask what she had done. So cool. All right, now let's make sure you're in the right place so I don't waste your time today. Are you a 40 through mid-60s busy female professional with little to no time on your hands? Do you have out-of-control cravings for sugar, wine, and or chocolate, and you know it's affecting your health, energy, and or your waistline? Have you tried all the latest diets, shakes, keto, intermittent fasting, and nothing works no matter what you try? You also know cookie cutter programs never work for you. You may even think you're lacking willpower because you know better, but you can't seem to stop yourself. If that just described you, then please stick around and let me teach you what I've been teaching other women just like you for the past 20 years. Now, what if I told you that what's going on in your body is not your fault? And the real reason is that sugar is a socially acceptable, legalized drug, and it's highly addictive and in everything, which means you're being triggered to eat it over and over again. And unfortunately, you don't feel fine despite what everyone around you is telling you that you are. And to just have a cookie or a bite of chocolate, and tomorrow's a new day. I'm here to tell you, you're not crazy. I get you, and I am so glad you're here. You see, the more inflamed you get, the more you crave those exact foods that inflame you. And before I figured all this out, I couldn't find a doctor, naturopath, gastroenterologist, or other specialist who could help me with my near ulcer, sugar cravings, weight swings, or anxiety. All they prescribed was another drug to fix me. So you can only imagine, after I figured it all out, that there was no way I was going to sit back and watch other women suffer needlessly and spend endless amounts of time and money the way I did for decades. You see, at our age, we need to address the inflammation first, then the weight will come off. This is why our old shortcuts no longer work and only make things worse. Now, over the next 20-ish minutes, I'm going to break down for you the fastest and simplest way to start controlling your sugar cravings and get the body to heal and release weight without having to white knuckle it or say no. Now, Kara came back after a year of completing with us. Jen, we just experienced an insane, stressful 3 weeks. It wasn't until we were through it all that I realized I weathered the madness. Didn't have one craving, and to top it off, I stepped on the scale and I'm down a total of 28 pounds since I met you. Now, Amy worked with us in September of 2022. She had lost 16 pounds of inflammation, and a year later, she wrote me that she's still down 15 pounds. Oh, and her rheumatoid arthritis medication got reduced. You see, you need to know that you can start seeing results like this in as little as 2 weeks, and you don't have to give up sugar, because none of this is about counting calories, saying no, feeling deprived, or, dear Lord help us, meal prepping on Sunday night. And I know it sounds too good to be true. I hear that a lot. Now, if you'd like to know more, you can keep watching this training. I am just warming up. However, if you've had enough of me talking already, I won't take it personally. And you know that this is what you've been looking for, you can go ahead and book a Sugar Freedom Strategy call with me now and come back and watch the training later. Just click the book a call button below. Now, the Sugar Freedom Method is a lifestyle change that feels simple, fun, and easy, or you don't do it. Tiffany, in her mid-50s and runs her own title insurance agency, had this to say: I have been on numerous diets and I kept gaining and losing weight and then gaining it back. The Sugar Freedom Method has given me hope and a future free of counting, measuring, eating bad food, and experiencing failure. By the 24th day, I had lost 17 pounds. Now, you should know these kinds of results are typical when women who join us have had enough and are ready to finally learn what works. That means there is hope for you, that you're already on the path to healing just from being on this training with me today. Now, before I get to the 5 steps of the Sugar Freedom Method, if this is your first time connecting with me, let me share a few quick things about myself so you get to know me better. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Jen Eden. I am a certified health coach for 20 years. I'm in my late 40s and I have 3 beautiful kids. And before I became the founder of the Sugar Freedom Method, a sought-after sugar addiction expert and women's empowerment coach, I tried everything. And I almost gave up many times out of sheer frustration that things would never change. Now, I won't go too deep into my story because I know you came here for you, and I promise to keep this short. I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry from Stony Brook University. I attended medical school briefly before taking a leave of absence because it was a bad fit, with too much focus on pharmaceuticals and prescription drugs. So instead, I received my certification for holistic health from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition back in 2004. And then went on to author a book, Woman Unleashed, which you can find on Amazon. You see, what I'm about to share with you today couldn't be found in one book, one program, one doctor, or naturopath. Finally, after 16 years of experimentation and hiring everyone I could think of, I started to realize my addiction to sugar was the root cause of my health and weight problems, and no one person knew how to fix it. The thing is, society doesn't treat sugar as a drug that's hurting our bodies. When we try to take it out on our own, we can't, because it requires specific tools and strategies to wean off it like any other drug. Not to mention, sugar has over 60 plus sneaky names, and unfortunately, it's in everything. And if that wasn't bad enough, sugar also hijacks our brains. The more you eat it, the more inflamed your brain gets, which makes you feel awful, which makes you crave it more to get that high again, and the cycle continues. At its core, sugar addiction is not a willpower issue like you might think. That's why what I'm teaching you today is an anti-addiction and anti-inflammation protocol. It's the only thing that works long-term for the women who come see us to address the root cause of unexplained weight gain, lack of sleep, low energy, and joint pain. And might I add, simply taking sugar out of your coffee doesn't actually heal you. It's a drug that will always call you back. I am hoping you can now see that up till now, it's not your fault you haven't figured this out. You've simply been missing all the pieces of the puzzle. And please know, doubters and skeptics are welcome. I know all the junk that's out there and all the stuff that you've tried that didn't work. I'm also banking on the fact that you can smell BS a mile away. Okay, so let's dive into each of the 5 steps of the Sugar Freedom Method right now. Okay, step 1 of the Sugar Freedom Method is to visualize it. We need to help you visualize what you want your body and life to look like and feel like. Why? Because you wouldn't get in a car on a cross-country road trip without putting your destination in the GPS, right? Breaking the need for sugar is the same way. If you don't know where you're headed, it's too easy to get lost in distractions and temptation along the way. Now, if you just want to lose weight or drop the last 10 pounds and then you'll be happy, you're in trouble. Odds are that's what's been guiding you up till this point. And it's just another reason why nothing is working. Your GPS is sending you in the wrong direction of your goal. You have to know why you want what you want. Is it to live a long, healthy, active life? Have more energy to get more done? Be around for your kids and your grandkids? Significantly reduce your chances of getting cancer or a disease that runs in your family? So start by getting clear on what you want to gain control over sugar and live your best life. That's step 1. Step 1 is also about figuring out your food triggers so you can stop them from happening. And my all-time favorite is to learn to start to prioritize yourself more. That's right. This includes the big D and the big B words, delegation and boundaries. An overworked, stressed out woman will find it very difficult to get sugar under her control for the long haul. So those need to be looked at and reevaluated. And no, you're not alone. Most women who come talk to me are chronic overgivers. And that, my friends, is step 1 of the Sugar Freedom Method. Getting clear on what you really want, learning boundaries, delegation, and getting control of your schedule. Okay, now step 2 of the Sugar Freedom Method is clarify it. This is where we typically have women start so they can get relief in as little as 2 weeks. There are so many mixed messages out there about eat this, avoid that. This is healthy, that isn't. It's no wonder you can't figure out which diet will work for you. It's because no one diet works for everyone. A diet is very personal, and so we help you craft a plan that works for you and what you like to eat, not what you have to eat. Many women who come see us are well educated, and all that education adds to their confusion about why their so-called healthy eating isn't helping them lose weight. In step 2 of the Sugar Freedom Method, you have to clarify what's in your food. What chemicals affect you, which don't? What kinds of food do you enjoy eating and which do you just tolerate? Same for what you drink. If you end up joining us in the Sugar Freedom Method, we take you food shopping, aisle by aisle, in some cool short videos I created for you in your online portal. My team and I teach you how to get chemicals out quickly, which are partially what cause cravings. And since I can't show you the online portal we give our clients, check it out in this workbook they receive. Oh, I love my workbook. There are over 60 names for sugar. It's like insane. It's insane. It's like so many names for sugar. Now, in step 2, you need to understand your food sensitivities, which are part of why you can't lose weight and for sure why your joints ache and you have hot flashes. Once you figure this out, your symptoms will alleviate, guaranteed. And while I so want to say it's these 5 ingredients you have to avoid to feel better and lose weight, there are so many sneaky ingredients in our food these days, I could do a training just on that. It used to be just avoid high fructose corn syrup and hydrogenated oils, and now the list goes on and on. But here's the cool thing about it. Once you know what to look for and get it out of your body will start to heal naturally and weight will come off and cravings will come under your control. How fun is that? So welcome to step 2, clarify it. All right, now let's move on to step 3 of the Sugar Freedom Method, which is tuning in. This is where you start to learn what your body is trying to tell you through your aches and pains, hot flashes, cravings, mood swings, and weight gain. Through no fault of your own, most women are relying on outside sources to tell them what's best for their bodies. But the truth is, their body is telling them something. They just don't know what it is yet. The perfect example is when you go to the doctor because you're not feeling good. They run a bunch of tests that come back negative, but you know deep down you're not fine. So who's right in this situation? Tuning in helps you know you're not crazy and tests aren't perfect. Another aspect of step 3, tuning in, is about understanding your energy drainers. You know, people who don't mean it, but they have no boundaries. And if we spend too much time with them, we feel exhausted. I can't say enough about learning to take care of yourself and protect your energy so that the irate boss, client, or sibling doesn't end up zapping all your energy, and before you know it, it's Friday night and you're pouring your second glass of wine or delving into the ice cream at 9 p.m. to make it all better. Is this all starting to make sense? I hope so. Welcome to step 3 of the Sugar Freedom Method, learning to tune in. All right, now on to step 4 of the Sugar Freedom Method. Live it. Nothing drives me battier than a woman who comes to see us after losing 30 to 40 pounds on some strict diet or exercise regime, only to find it all creep back on the minute she decided to have a life. What's fun about being healthy, cravings-free, and lean? Yet you're stuck at home because anytime you vacation or go out with your girlfriends, you start to gain it back. That is the beauty of living the Sugar Freedom Method way. You learn how to navigate having a social life and needing to travel for work or vacation while living it in a body you love. Not sure if you know this, but traveling is really hard on the body, and flying dehydrates us so badly. Not to mention, we are tired after traveling. So mix that with dehydration and exhaustion, and you've got a recipe for sugar cravings, wine, and anything else that will give the body some fake energy to get through it all. Isn't it time you got to enjoy a party or a vacation, not worrying about messing up your diet because you know exactly what you're doing? That's one of the favorite tools women report who join us. They can have the freedom to enjoy their life and not suffer the next day. So step 4, live it, is about learning to navigate an anti-inflammatory lifestyle while having fun. If you don't learn how to do that, you will never be able to sustain long-term results with any healing program you join. Hopefully this is all starting to make some real sense now. All right, moving on to step 5 of the Sugar Freedom Method is love it. You see, if you're just putting up with your life, your spouse, your kids, your career, and you're not finding daily joy, you will always fall back on sugar, wine, or chocolate to give you that lift. And so that's why I created step 5, love it. You get to create a life you love more than sugar, wine, and even chocolate. And you can ask yourself questions like, what feeds you other than food? What exercise do you actually enjoy doing versus feeling like you must do? What brings you joy that you haven't made time for in a while? This is what the Sugar Freedom Method is really about. To be more addicted to your life than food and wine. This is so very important to keep growing as a person and to make small adjustments to your career, relationships, home environment, daily joy, exercise routine, so you keep growing and loving your life. You with me? So start looking at all areas of your life and make a decision as a result of today's training to make one small change in one area. And that, my friends, is step 5, love it. Okay, I know I said there are 5 steps for the method, and there are. However, I found over the years that a woman's gut health deteriorates as she ages. It's just what happens from decades of stress, childbirth, chemicals in food, air and water, and many rounds of antibiotics. So I need to make sure women take care of their gut health. So that's technically step 6 of the Sugar Freedom Method. All right, step 6 of the sugar freedom method is fixing your gut health. The sugar freedom method, as I've been talking about all this time, addresses the root cause of inflammation, sugar addiction, and weight gain, which is in large part due to poor gut health. So we typically start with upgrading your food choices to minimize chemicals that hurt the delicate microbiome, and then we help you heal your gut. The result? A flatter tummy, no bloat, and yes, less cravings. But if you just take a probiotic, but keep ingesting all those artificial sweeteners, food dyes, added chemicals, stabilizers, rancid oils, you are just continuing to ruin your gut health while trying to repair it. So can you now see why just taking a probiotic on its own never really makes a difference? Not to mention, most of the probiotics on the market are pure garbage and do nothing to repopulate your gut microbiome. You must adjust your diet in tandem with repairing your gut. And if you're going to look for a good probiotic, please make sure it is refrigerated, it has multiple strands of bacteria, and has at least 25 billion cultures. And it's worth repeating that the sugar freedom method is all about healing the body one step at a time in a very methodical way, with each step building upon the other until the body heals and you're feeling your best self again. Now, if you're still with me taking in all this new information, that's awesome. Let's recap the 5 steps real quick. Step 1, visualize it. Know where you're going and make time in your schedule to make real change. Step 2, clarify it. Know what's in your food and understand what is personally inflaming you. Step 3, tune into it. Learn to understand the clues your body is giving you and set some boundaries. Step 4, live it. Learn to make this anti-inflammatory, anti-addiction method a lifestyle change so you can go on vacation or a business trip and not come home sick and bloated. Step 5, love it. Look at your life and make some micro adjustments in areas where you are tolerating things. And last but not least, step 6, the bonus step, fix your microbiome while you make dietary adjustments. Take a deep breath with me. I know that was a lot to digest. It's a lot. Okay. Now, if you remember earlier, I mentioned I would present you with the opportunity to hop on a no pressure, no BS sugar freedom strategy call if you felt like you were in the right place. I know some women have already done that because, well, when they hear something that makes sense, they jump right on it. But for the rest, that's not always the case. They need time to digest all the information before making a decision. So if you're still with me and I've made a ton of sense and you've learned a lot about what it takes to kick and manage sugar addiction, and you would like to take me up on that offer to chat, then here's your opportunity again. I'm hoping that you can clearly see, given how successful you are in so many areas of your life, that if you could have figured this out on your own, you would have done so already. There must be something else going on. And without a specific roadmap, it's hard to know which way to go. And how about wanting faster results? The sugar freedom method is your shortcut to figuring that out. Now, do I know if this could work for you specifically? Honestly, I'm not sure. I don't know you, and I'm not sure if you're ready to make some real changes in your life. And we haven't spoken for me to understand the root cause of your particular issues. What I do know, though, is that right now you've got 3 choices you can make. The first choice is you watch this training and it was informational. And you're going to wake up tomorrow and sort of do what you've been doing, putting in gym time, trying to eat healthy. And when you mess up, you'll simply go back. You'll simply just start back up tomorrow. Now, your second choice is to take what you learned today, try to piece it all together, Googling gut health, the 60 plus names for sugar, and things that inflame you on a daily basis. Yes, like food chemicals, and the link between inflammation and sugar addiction. You might even decide that you're going to start by cutting sugar out of your coffee. I get that one a lot. But here's the thing, and please know I always honor whatever feels right for a woman, as she knows best. If you don't know the right things to do for you specifically, how do you ever expect to figure this out for good? That's where jumping on a call with me will be super helpful. I'll assess where you are and why nothing is working. No more taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back, wasting time and money on fake food, keto, or Weight Watchers weigh-ins. All right, now option 3 is clearly my favorite for a good reason. I get to meet you and we get to talk on a no pressure, no BS sugar freedom strategy call. I take all the calls personally and make sure you're in the right place before you can even consider joining us. Please know I've set aside some time in the next 48 to 72 hours to speak to you so I can hear more about what's been going on. There's a link below this training somewhere to apply to speak to me and jump on my calendar now. And let me be very clear. This is a no BS, no pressure sugar freedom strategy call I'm offering to get to the heart of what is going on, to understand why everything else you've ever tried hasn't worked. I've even trademarked the method, can now certify coaches to teach it, and I pitched to Oprah on it. I couldn't help myself. So if you know in your heart it's time to improve your relationship with food and sugar and heal your body, but you haven't been able to do it on your own, then the sugar freedom method very well may be the solution you've been looking for. And I am so certain for the right woman, it will work. The method comes with a guarantee. So if you think that could be you, come book a call and let's chat. Now let me conclude this training by saying thank you very much for taking the time to learn from me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day and or evening. Take care.